Okay, welcome back. So, we've got the king board or the queen board, as you like to call it.
Yeah.
And this is so... Now, because we're talking about before, you're doing soundtracks. Well, say you've done the end of the effing world, and surely that's going to, because it's amazing, and surely that's going to lead on to other things, right?
Yeah.
And so this is to help you with that side of things, or is it for another project completely?
No, this is just to help me organise groups of pedals, I guess, and to concentrate on what pedals can do. Because I'm this is all an education to me.
Right.
Like so much is this late in life. I'm running out of, it's like there's not enough years in a life for what we all want to do, is there? So I've got to get on with it. And so there is such a lot of things to discover and pedals and things. So it's good to have some sort of session pedals and things. I wanted a sort of a pedal board that would have some of my really old favourites, like die-hard favourites, and to be able to put them with other things that I'm not quite so sure of, and the things that I need to learn up on, perhaps a little more, like some of these here, the things that you've suggested up today, like the Flashback here and this Roxanne. And the Palladium as well, that just to see what these things can do, but with the compressor as well, just to be able to get really clean stuff and go to fantastically filthy for ridiculously perverse soloing, which of course I like perverse soloing. It's a sort of cement type soloing that you can't, no cracks survive, sort of, the broad brushstroke sort of approach. So that's why we've gone here with the Thorpy in this one, because I always liked this pedal too, because it does an incredibly huge mega job. I mean, we haven't dialed this one in particularly, but yeah.
Let's get a listen.
And then the lovely Origin effects, guys.
Yeah, and the Cali.
I've come with the Cali 76 there with the flag upon the front.
Let's have a listen to the muff.
That sounds really great.
It's great, yeah, no, it's wonderful.
I'm interested in some of these boosty types.
Yeah.
So we were talking about the pickup booster earlier, and you were asking about what that might do compared to this ODR-1. So is this stuff you've just sort of picked up that's new, that you're just interested to hear, or...?
Well, the Seymour Duncan, they sent me these.
Yeah.
And the booster's obviously good for me. If I get into a situation which I have recently with Gorillas, where I'm chucked on the stage, I do have a bit of a sound check, but I don't like to take up much time, I'm coming on for one or two songs. So they may have an amp for a guest, and I get on and it's a bit clean or whatever, then I can always get to that sort of just breaking up sort of tone quickly without fiddling around with the amp that I don't really know very well or whatever.
We have a listen to that. So we're plugged into the Victory Sheriff 22, which you're using for a few things, I understand.
Yeah, I'm using that at home. What's brilliant about that is that I can use it with the old folks who live next door, and they never really hear me because I've got a funny shaped room. It's about like this, but then it's like my room is it's like a huge Toblerone with two tiny Toblerones coming off the side. So it's got these two Toblerone tunnels. And one of them is made into a sort of half wardrobe, and it's full of old tweed suits and overcoats all along there. So what I do, so I get it down there, and I just aim it at the overcoats and get a mic in front of it.
Nice.
And no one hears a thing. And you can do the pressing the button in the back and still get that sort of driving tone, but you don't have to be.
Yeah.
You don't have to destroy half of North London. It does dislodge a few moths though, which is good. North London's a big moth problem. It gets rid of a few of those. So it's really handy and sounds great.
Toblerone's tweed and moths. I think this is.
Well, these are the problems, So that is a sort of a.
On this one,
Mm-hmm.
I think.
So if I wanted to go straight into, that's without even we haven't even turned a singular knob. But so if I wanted to go Beetle Bum or get that Abbey Roadie thing going on from an amp that's seeming a bit weedy, then it's there, isn't it? And a little easier to get because we're on these.
Yes.
P90s.
So shout out to our friend Tom Gray.
Shout out to Tom.
Yeah. So this is a guitar that Tom made for you.
It was, yes. A sudden tweet in the middle of one afternoon and saying that I've made you this guitar, Graham. You want to give it a try? And I just thought this is a bit weird. And I thought I'm not sure about this.
Look how thick the body is.
And
It's a hollow body.
Yeah, I know. But it's just interesting.
But then I looked at it and I thought, gosh, Telecaster with P90s. That's an interesting kind of an idea. And it is hollow.
Mm.
It's got that down the middle, which is called something. But I don't make guitars. And these bits either side are hollow.
Right.
Is that a bout? Was that a cheek or a horn? I don't know. There's a horn, cheek, and bout. And
Bouts on the edges, centre block down the middle.
is this a cheek?
Yeah, it could be.
I don't know. A horn? That's a horn. I don't know.
It's
But
a horn.
solid down there. So it's actually pretty light. But it's a smasher.
Yeah. It sounds amazing. Lovely neck. I have one.
Yeah.
It's another Tele style. What is that? What sort of neck is that?
Yes,
The mahogany.
it's mahogany.
Right. Very nice.
Yeah.
Very nice. Yes.
So I'm
But it's
interested to hear how these differ.
Okay.
Yeah, okay. But what's good about this guitar is I've always liked those guitars that can do a few duties.
Yeah.
So I like the Deluxes. I had this Deluxe, Tele Deluxe for a while. It has two humbuckery things, and that seemed to be able to do pretty much anything. But yeah, let's see what this can do on that.
Okay.
That is, isn't it?
You heard it here first. Graham
Wow.
Coxon playing ZZ Top.
By accident. Yeah, so that sounds quite good.
It's interesting that because it sounded a bit tube screamery, and then Dan turned up the treble and it got more aggressive and more kind of focused, which I would guess you prefer. Do you? A bit more treble, a bit more bite.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. I've always liked that idea that you're playing something and then you can just go and it will just be like releasing a whatever sort of animal that could be released. It's something with fangs. Yeah, snake, tiger,
Anything with fangs.
Yeah, and it just goes into their audience's face. Yeah, so that sounds pretty good. I mean, and they're dead cheap, aren't they?
Yeah, they're not
They are,
expensive.
yeah.
Because that was a shocker. Because a lot of really good players, a lot of people are doing tons of work professionally. Large guitar players seem to have this thing knocking about.
Now I'm spying a modded rat on there. So in the other part of the video, we talked a lot about your love for the rat pedal because it was a something you used in the early part of your career and really loved. What's this one about, Dan?
So this is the JHS version.
Right.
heavily modded. I got rid of a lot of the subpar components and put some really good stuff in. But there's the 3-position switch, basically 3 different voices of the rat. So if we check this out, if you want to
do a bit of freaking out.
Freak out.
Because that is basically SG and rat. So that's P90s and rat.
Freaking out!
I love that song.
Yes! Nice. So what was some sort of mid
so
difference in the mix?
Yeah, it's flipping great. There's going to
does.
be people going mental for this because the rat nutters, they're always, it's like...
The rat nutters.
Well, there's a sort of that holy
yeah.
grail about a few pedals and rat is definitely one of those, isn't it? And I didn't even know this. I was blissfully unaware of this going forward. And, you know, I've had road crew, my girl, mate Steve, who's texted for me for ages. And, you know, rats, the good rats circulate among certain guitarists, I think, without their knowledge. So these are a bit of a godsend.
Yeah, so Josh at JHS, he does a lot of mods. You know, he does his own brand of pedals, but does a lot of mods, and this is a great one.
So all 3 rats in one box. Did we say that already?
Yeah, so you
big
different.
box.
You got basically the different voicings, and you can find those flavors within those voicings. Yeah, you know, it's fantastic. But there's that mid-range thing to that sound, and it doesn't sound like any other distortion pedal. You know, it's really
well, that's
great.
the thing, because I got so used to it because that was the one that was lying around in the studio, and that's the one I used for gigs. And then I'd see people with Boss ones and this ones and the other ones, and I'd go, oh, well, I'll try that Boss one. And I'd be, which one? Because there'd be like about 8 different types, you know. So I go for the yellow one. And I'd always be slightly... They'd never seemed to come close to the rat for me. And I don't know whether that was because I was so used to what it did or whatever. There was always something a little bit... It's really punching. It's really there.
Yeah.
And everything else... Because I either like that sort of punch to it like that, or when you put something like that on it, just goes...
Yeah.
It just goes wide, you know.
But, yeah.
Did you have a preferred place for the filter pot, Graham?
Well, the thing is, I set this up exactly how I would...
That's how you have it.
I would normally have it, which was like that. But of course, it's a bit different on this.
Sure.
Because this volume pedal, the volume knob, now, I wouldn't have it there. With this particular one, it comes back. It seems to come back there a bit more.
Yeah, it's got so much output.
Yeah, it has, which is brilliant. Which is what I always wanted, because I would be like going like this and trying to turn it further, and you can't turn any further. Yeah. So that's great.
We've put a flashback on here, and we're big fans of this, simply because of the number of really great sounding sort of tape and analog plus 2290, really clean digital delays, but also with the mash switch, which we thought you'd like.
Yeah.
So if we get the delay on there, and if you just play something.
Yeah, so that's a bit like when you get a copycat and you just sort of
Yeah.
you're just hanging onto the table. You go,
But there's
so that works differently on each of the settings.
Yeah.
exactly
Does different things.
You
yeah.
can assign that because it's sensitive to how much pressure you put on it.
Yeah.
So you can assign it to any knob or actually any number of knobs. So with that one there, it's assigned to the tape speed, but also as you push it, it increases the feedback. So it goes, the tape speed slows down, but the feedback rate goes up. So you get that oscillation happening. But, you know, they sound great. And but for that, for every now and then, if you need a delay just to, you know, go nuts, it's fantastic.
Yeah, because that suits me. Because when I'm just, like I've said before, about my levels of technical ability are getting to some point. Oh no, run out of notes. Distortion unit, run out of notes again. Another distortion unit, put that on and start bending notes desperately to make them fit, and then a delay pedal on, and then throw on the floor. So there's one more level now before throwing yourself on the floor. Is this button?
That's right. There's another level before throwing yourself on the floor.
Because I'm one day I'll show you the. Do you know that backward roll thing that we were trying to think of the name and someone came up with it should be called the tumbleweed, but there's a backward roll thing that I do sometimes live, and it took me a few goes to do it without bashing the headstock on the stage, and so what you do, you're standing there and you just let yourself go forward and you go and your legs go over and your feet touch and then you're up again. Normally with the strap hanging off, but you've got the guitar and you hold it aloft and it's making all kinds of insane noises.
I have seen that.
But once, quite by accident, when I was doing this, I had my amps much like that, but they would be off the ground a little bit because they'd be still sitting in their flight case. And I did it, and I don't know what happened. I was standing there and I did it, and my head must have come back to there. When my feet went up, they hooked onto the top of my amplifier. So I was upside down, facing my amp and my speaker cabinet, just being blown apart by this noise. It was insane.
Unreal.
And I've done it once on purpose since to see if I can do it. I have to have a little mark, and then you go whoop, and you just get your feet and you hook them on the top, and you're there. It's kind of like a strange guitarist sound fiction.
Sound fiction.
Or a
fiction.
a crucisoniction. I don't know what it is. But it's
I think
it's a hell of a thing.
I wonder if we could practice that in here.
That's why we need a bigger room.
Yeah.
We can start
contraction.
trying some of that
Neck.
stuff out. Oh, there's all kinds of things that happen on the stage when you think that after and you go, ooh, crikey, you could have broken my neck there.
It's been blowing our minds all day because as soon, like, you know, certainly the band I was in, we played a number of Blur songs. Hearing you play them, I've been playing them wrong this whole time. But I want you to show everyone the correct way to play Parklife.
We just got a normal clean sound. That's all it is, yeah. It's really easy and
Unreal.
caveman-y. I mean, that's part of each individual player's kind of personality, isn't it? It seems natural to put a little hammer on here and there,
Yeah.
and to another player. When I try and play somebody else's guitar part, I just fall to bits. I find it so difficult.
It's so interesting because I've played that song 1,000 times and I've seen so many other guitar players play it, and even if you play the right chords, it's still playing it wrong. It just doesn't sound like that. It just doesn't sound like that. It's amazing.
What's interesting is that in the middle position there on that guitar, it still sounds very telly and very you. It still sounds that kind of.
Yeah. I was gonna try and play No Distance Left to Run as well, or is that too much?
Let's try.
That was another thing that came out of these kind of strange sort of chord shapes. But it's up here like. That bit, and then there's this other chord that I couldn't work out, and the ending, which goes. That chord there. So it's kind of like coming down from the.
Awesome.
Was that a major 7, that last chord?
It is.
The problem with songs like that, they're the ones that stress me out because there's so much room for me to just, and it's kind of naked and clean, the sound. So when you make a mistake there, you really hear it, and you see the audience, they go, it's the worst feeling in the world.
Do you find the more you think about it, the more mistakes you make?
Kind of. I do like to think about it though, because I like to be organised. I might seem like I don't, but I do like to know what's going on.
We have the Q-Tron over here, the filter.
What do we use that for? I think it went a bit wrong in the middle.
Yeah, use it for exactly that.
That was the sole reason the micro Q-Tron was invented.
Is it?
Wasn't it, I think? To play rhubarb and custard. Is that what it was, rhubarb and custard?
Yeah, rhubarb. All the kids' shows had good music in those days.
Yeah.
So this Palladium, do you want to have a look at that?
Yeah.
Or do you think that's just insane? Because there's a lot of buttons.
There's a lot of buttons.
There.
But
I might need some professional help.
So all this is, we've got the EQ section up here.
Yeah.
Yep. So if we just make sure it's not going to kill anyone with level. Great.
That sounds good, doesn't it?
It's great.
Everything seems to be sounding good.
Yeah,
Wow.
so yeah, just a really powerful EQ section up there.
Mega EQ.
These two knobs here relate to the boost switch, so you can change
Yeah.
the resonance and the level of boost. But you've got your level and gain, and then just all your EQ.
Yeah. Yeah, wow.
It's great. Actually, we've been really impressed with the pedals that Seymour Duncan have released. We saw their reverb this year at the show. Last year they released their delay, and which is all dynamic and sensitive to the way that you play. But they've done some really, really cool things. And
Amazing.
finally, the Roxanne flanger from Longamp. So this is, I played it on the show a couple of times. It's my new favourite flanger. I'm very, very happy.
Which is a big deal coming from Dan.
Sorry.
dry ice.
Yeah.
Let's have some effect. Let's have some effect on the flanger.
Quite know what to play.
Like you've never heard it before, people.
Oh my goodness.
That was another chord then. The thing is, no one taught me the guitar. No one taught me anything about guitar, so I had to sort of figure a few things out, like with that kind of the thirdless chord.
Mm-hmm.
So I started using that quite a lot. The thirdless E. So instead of going, I go, which is a, what's that, London Loves riff.
I think we should turn a few things on
Okay.
and
Do you just want to play with those?
see if see what inspires you, Graham. See if anything grabs your inspiration bone. There was a moment there when we had the Palladium turned on and you were getting that lovely dissonance in the string bend.
Yeah, that's Pressure on Julian. That's the song, and I always wondered about why it made the go. You know, that sort of sound.
Yeah.
And that was when you've got that sort of a lot of distortion on it. It sort of does that weird thing. Flipping heck. That's some really amazing sounds. Was that just getting completely flattened?
That
Yeah.
Originally, that was
it hurting?
it was this going into this going into this, and they're all cranked, and it just couldn't handle it.
So was it the Palladium's, because there's the Palladium last in the chain?
Yes.
So it
Yes.
was the Palladium's input section was just going,
Yeah. Well, it might have been
Thanks.
this. It was those two stacked
okay.
going into that. So it was it was a big ask.
I've got any more, Captain?
Yeah.
Brilliant.
Thank you so much.
That's been great. Thank
It's
you.
it's meant the world that you've come out today and hung out with us.
I'm glad I managed to do it. Get here. You
Oh
know.
man, so cool.
Too
So
cool. Too cool.
Excellent. Okay, guys, thank you so much for watching. Massive thank you to our patrons on Patreon. Really appreciate it, guys. Thank you. Massive thank you to our preferred retailers in the UK and Europe is,
Anderson's Music of Guildford in Surrey.
and the USA is,
Riff City Music of New Hope, Minnesota.
and in Australia.
Is Pedal Empire of Brisbane, Queensland.
Yes, and also massive thank you to anyone that's gone to thatpedalshowstore.com and bought a T-shirt or waxing kits or there's the yeah. Anyway, thank you guys. We really appreciate it. Yeah. Cheers. We'll see you next week.
Cheerio.
Bye.